Hello and welcome back to another episode of Cozy Cinema Club, where we get cozy, watch something and talk about it. I hope you're able to tell that there's a bit of a difference visually here because I actually got a brand new camera. I got my dream camera. I can't even believe this. I own this camera. I got the A7 IV, the Sony A7 IV, and I have wanted this camera for so long. I've made a TikTok talking about this, so I don't want to yap about it for ages. I'm really excited for today's episode, but before we watch something, I have an idea what we're going to be watching, but I'm not going to tell you just yet. I have to go into work, unfortunately, but to make the day a little bit better, I have something to look forward to this evening, which is what we're going to be watching. But I also got myself a little coffee. They're still using the Christmas mugs. I'll show you a close-up in a second. So let's try the coffee and then go to work. And hopefully we're able to kind of like test this camera out in different lighting. I'm in the car now, which I couldn't even do with my previous camera. So let's have this coffee and then I'll show you a close-up of it and we'll go to work. That is lovely. What a way to spend a Wednesday. Let me show you this cup. One sec. It is so beautiful. Also, I can't believe that I have autofocus that actually works. I'm not going to stop talking about this camera probably in this episode. I'm sorry, but I need to get to work. Let's go. Okay, I have finally decided on what we are watching. I am home alone for the next 3 days, which means I have a lot of time. So we're not going to be watching one movie, we're going to be watching a TV show. And I've been going back and forth between two TV shows. It's been between The Rehearsal Season 2, because I loved Season 1 so much, Nathan Fielder's show, or we have The Chair Company, which is meant to be great. But after thinking about it and doing a little bit of research, I'm going to be watching the second season of The Rehearsal, and I cannot wait. If you don't know what the show is about, I'm going to put up a little thing on the screen, but it is so good. Season 1 was incredible. They're not connected, I don't think, and you don't really need to know anything about the show to kind of enjoy it. So we're going to be watching the second season of The Rehearsal, but time has kind of like slipped away and it's quite late, so it might be tomorrow by the time I check in with you. I looked on IMDb and there are 6 episodes to this season, so I'll check in with you after 3 episodes, give you a little bit of like a chat, my opinion, and then I'll write like a better review after the 6 episodes. I cannot wait. I really wanted to watch The Chair Company, but when I saw that the second season of The Rehearsal is only 6 episodes long, I was like, I have to lock in, because I loved Nathan For You and I really loved the first season, which was incredible. If you haven't watched it, you should definitely watch it. So I cannot wait. I'm also really tired, so I might watch 1 episode or 2 episodes in bed. I don't know, but I'll check in with you probably tomorrow. Okay.
The little kid, Einstein, was a guy I thought was so sexy.
Einstein,
yes.
Really?
Yeah, and I read his story and everything. I was like, oh, yeah, this is the kind of man I would have loved.
Einstein.
And he had a baby when he was real young. Did you know that?
No.
I don't know. You know, just when you have a, I don't want to say that, but.
What?
A wet dream, but you know.
A wet dream? You had a wet dream about Einstein?
I was turned on to him.
Okay, I have just finished watching The Rehearsal Season 2, and I feel like before I say anything, I think if you have never watched anything by Nathan Fielder, then I think you definitely should. Season 1 of The Rehearsal was incredible. I thought it was so innovative and it was just unreal. And then watching Season 2 compared to Season 1 is just a whole nother story. There is so much to say about this TV show. I was watching the last episode, which I will get to in a little bit, because if you don't know, you should get to know, you should go watch this show. But the last episode was absolutely crazy. As I've described to you before this kind of clip, rehearsal is basically about rehearsing situations that might come up in life. And what I really loved about season 2 is that there was a whole narrative story and kind of like a foundation that connected all of the episodes. Whereas in season 1, it kind of took a while for everything kind of to be glued together. Whereas here, everything was just put together super smoothly because of the foundation of the story based around aviation safety. Basically, the story is Nathan has a theory that the reason a lot of commercial flights crash is because of the lack of communication between the two co-pilots, the co-pilot and the captain. So he explores communication. That is basically like the theme for this entire season, and it is done so well. Like, I feel like I'm not going to say anything original about this season, so I might as well just give you my kind of like response. Also, I said I would check in with you after the first 3 episodes. I lied. I watched the entire season, and here we are, because it was just that good. I was locked in. I literally sat down at like 2 p.m. It is currently 5 p.m. and I love this show so much. So here are a few notes I have here. I also have a little quote from a book that I really like, that I feel like really applies to The Rehearsal really well. The first thing I kind of wanted to say is how incredible the narrative is and how everything is connected through the stories. The pacing and kind of like just the flow of the season was so good. It's also very interesting to me to consider what is real, what isn't real in this season. And I just really loved that there was a clear goal and a central theme which served as a foundation, and everything around it, all the extra bits, all the bonus rehearsals, was kind of like a cherry on top. This is produced incredibly well. Nathan is just, I don't know, like I remember the first time I watched Bo Burnham, I was like, wow, this is innovation. And it was kind of like the same when I watched Nathan For You, Nathan's first show. I also loved that there was some future and past rehearsals. We didn't really get that in season 1, I don't think. And as I said here, I'm not really smart enough to articulate everything. Although it is absolutely absurd, crazy, and very goofy, there is still a real life touch. And I think that is what makes the show quite impactful and quite powerful, because I feel like there's a real life touch about like modern loneliness, being sincere, toxic masculinity, and the harm of the grind, the work ethic, and how destructive it is to us. I wrote a little something here. Let me read it out to you and then we'll wrap things up. The world Nathan creates consists of a bit that's explored, and on the surface it's comical and a little goofy, but on the inside there's a feeling that hits at real emotions. These are interconnected by really engaging narrative, and within this world a cloud of absurdity hangs over everything, which I love so much. It reminds me of something I read in a book which states, "The world is but a brilliant mirage, a temporary illusion. It's an illusion you can only see now, so how about enjoying it to the full while you can? All our little lies are gathered together and become a reality that you can only see now. When you go to an amusement park, you don't wonder how the roller coaster is put together or how a merry-go-round is powered. Do you? Just relax and live your life." I loved The Rehearsal season 2. I don't know if I explained all my thoughts super clearly, but my camera also has 4 minutes left of recording. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Cozy Cinema Club. I'm not really good at reviewing TV shows, but this was really fun. It was really fun to test out the camera. I also want to kind of show you my setup because it looks a bit mental, so I'll show you at the end. What should I watch next? Let me know, and thank you so much for watching another episode of Cozy Cinema Club. This is always really fun, and go check out The Rehearsal or Nathan Fielder. I feel like everybody knows about him and has watched this stuff. I'm not saying anything new, but I loved it so much. Thank you so much for watching, and bye-bye. Also, the last episode, some of the best TV I've ever watched in my entire life. The commitment, the everything, that's all I'll say. I don't want to spoil it, but trust me, the last episode is.